Hello.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
We're already having fun and we haven't even gone live yet. So you have Ilona Machaj from Poland.
Yes, my heart to your heart. Yes, from Poland today. Yes.
And
There's no one sun here. We were laughing, but yeah, I've got to get used to that.
But there's other great things. Like every Polish person, female that I've ever met, has got the most beautiful complexion, right? There has this deep, I don't know, vitality of an essence that's identifiable as Polish. It just is this very beautiful trait. Everybody's beautiful.
Thank you. I guess so, yeah. No, I mean, I think Eastern women have this uniqueness. It's, I guess it's, yeah, from what I heard, it's the innocence in a way. Yeah, something there in the Eastern European women.
And that's why you can talk about stepping into your magnificence, because that's what you're all about, is being the magic of life and knowing how that is. So we're going to talk about how little things shift today and make a difference.
Yes, today we're going to talk about choices, and we make them every single day. But I think most of us make new choices very automatically without thinking, and our choices create our future. So it's important to kind of bring awareness to the choices we make. And my intention for today is actually to open your awareness a little bit towards choices and kind of show you or explain you how you actually can make new choices that will bring you your desired outcome.
Sounds beautiful, because we are usually being run by our past habits or our past choices or our ancestors' choices. So bringing awareness to what we truly desire to choose is just in that requires a lot of energy to give yourself awareness, let alone permission to act, right?
Yes, so much energy, so much changes and shifts that we need to make in terms to attract the future we actually desire for ourselves. And before I step into that, I actually want to talk a little bit about the future and what is the future, because most of us think that in some ways that future is destined, and that we walk towards our future. But I want a little bit change your perception about that today, because I believe that future is actually, as everything is energy, right? We know that, we all believe in this. And future, if you look at the future in terms of energy, right? The future outcome you want to create for yourself. It's actually, we don't walk towards the future. We have to become the future, which means we have to become the vibrations of the future outcome we desire. And that we do through the little choices we take every single day.
Well, that is just in that, right? So first of all, someone's making a little choice, whether they think the future is ahead of them and it's something they're preparing for, or if the future is now. Because if the future is now do you want to feel happy, or now do you want to feel miserable? Do you think you have to change something to, down the road to get happy, or can you change it now, right? Is that the type of thing you're talking about?
Yes, but I'm talking in terms of future more as a new circumstances we want to create for ourselves rather the feelings. Because what happens often, especially in a spiritual community, it's we shift our perception. We start to think positively. We do lots of healing and clearing, right? And we do start to feel better. but in some ways the reality, it doesn't shift that much. It doesn't. Our circumstances don't change that much. And why is that? And that is because we keep making the same choices over and over again. And that means that we still staying in the same vibrations. So although we feel better, our reality outside of us, it doesn't change much. And this is because we keep repeating the same patterns. We keep staying within our comfort zone.
So what would be one little choices like that you notice that others are doing all the work, but they're consistently making these little choices? I'm sure there's at least a top 3 that you notice in others and your clients that they're doing repetitively.
I mean, it's really making the little choices that they're still within our comfort zone. So every choice that you make, basically, which is quite easy to make, which it doesn't really involve stretching you, it's either a choice that you have been making all the time, or a choice which is a new version of what you have been doing already. And the new version of what you have been doing already, it still keeps you within your comfort zone. So to just make it clear, let's say the future, if you want to create certain circumstances, right, which are in the future, circumstances that you don't have them yet in your reality, right? Okay. What does this mean? Is that these circumstances are outside of your comfort zone. So the future is really a possibilities available for you. Depends on your choices. You're kind of directing your future, and with the. But to create the new choices, to create the new circumstances that you desire, you have to make choices which are out of your comfort zone. Does this make sense?
It does, but I think the viewers might need clarification as an example. Like, I'll look back at my life and I'll go, I'm a result of every choice I've ever made right now at this point. So I'm okay with the most ridiculous choices I ever made. Because that's who I am now. Would I make those choices ever again? No. And I feel like it's impossible for me to make those choices, because as I've brought up my vibration or opened up to what's present, that like there's only a certain choice in this vibration. Like, it's impossible for me to step in and make a choice that's going to lead me into misery, because I've decided that that's an old thing. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Yeah. And obviously, but that's something that you have already extended your comfort zone. It's already that you shifted, right? So this is something like old things that you left, and with what you learn, what you experience, that this is not for you.
Yeah, but so let's give a tangible to somebody basic. So they've started doing clearing work, and what's a choice that they're getting out of their comfort zone? Is that like doing video, when they're not? Is that like...
The out of comfort zone is literally when you feel like you really stretching yourself in terms of you feel stressed or you're scared to do that choice. Okay. That's very often a sign that you're getting out of your comfort zone, right? So that's number one. And obviously we're talking about fear. We're not talking about fear when you want to jump out of the cliff. Obviously you're going to feel the fear. And this is a different fear. This is fear that I call it really actually keeps you alive, right? So this is a fear that we're not really talking about here. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about fear, which basically, let's say, recording videos, right? When I was recording my first video, when I pressed the publish button, I was shaking from the fear, right? So that's an example of a fear where it was stretching my comfort zone. And that's because that was totally new choice for me. I have never recorded any video before. I have never published any of my talks to the public. So that was really a new choice I have made. And really the new choices are the ones that's gonna bring the fear, that's gonna bring the resistance. And the choices which are like easy to take, like, I don't know, I feel, I don't know, I always was a choice that I was thinking to not speak my truth before, right? And so I was making choices that were literally I was listening my fear, and I was staying in my comfort zone. So these choices obviously would not create the outcome when I'm expanding my business, as an example.
Yeah. And you know what choice I used to make in the past as from a spiritual perspective that might ring true for some people is, when I can see it now, when there was some sort of resistance stepping out and it was like things weren't lining up perfectly, I'd go, oh, it's obviously not the right time. Because, and I've heard that so many times, spiritual people, they say, oh, it's obviously not the right time. Instead of thinking it's the time to step through their comfort zone, they're staying back in their old habit.
Exactly. This is a perfect. I love that because I hear that very often. I hear that very often from some of my friends and from my clients. And this is really, I mean, obviously every choice is valid, and there is no choice that will not give us something. But the thing is, if you really want to create something in your life that you don't have it yet in your reality, you've got to go for your resistance. You have to take steps that require crossing, the resistance, or just taking your resistance, holding by a hand, and said, we go for it together. The more we listen in our resistance, the more we listen in our fear, the more our comfort zone getting stronger and stronger. And within the time, it's even more difficult to cross that line again. So that's one of the things, yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's an awesome one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's very important the step one, to create a new choice, to create new circumstances for yourself. And when I say new circumstances, it's circumstances that you don't have it in your reality, and this is very important. And it's not about feelings, but it's about a situation, right? You want to have it in your reality. Mm-hmm. You've got to take new action. Yeah. New choice, right? And a choice is really an action, because once you make choice, you have to take action. Yeah. Otherwise, there's no choice. You have to stretch your comfort zone, because the outcome you want is outside of your comfort zone. Because if it would be within your comfort zone, you would have it in your reality already.
Right.
Yeah. So if you don't have, so the thing is, if you don't have the circumstances you want in your reality, right? And you see that nothing is changing with it, right? Because there's nothing changing. That means the choices you are taking are within your comfort zone.
Right. So what would be the first step to get out of their comfort zone now that they're going, I thought it just wasn't the right time, and now I'm starting to get uncomfortable knowing that you're telling me that I'm really staying in my comfort zone, and it all comes back to me changing here. What do I do, Ilona?
Well, the thing is, you've got to just accept that the resistance will be there.
Okay.
There's no other way around, because the resistance will be there. And it takes, once you start to make new choices, right? And you actually stretching your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. It takes about a year, apparently. It takes about a year to kind of totally don't feel the resistance. So the resistance really will be part of your journey. But the thing is, you just have to accept it and just be okay with it, and just do it anyway.
Well, I probably every time you're expanding to a new level, like it's like going from your public school, elementary school, to high school, to college, to a new job, a career. Or moving from Bali to Poland, there is a new level of expanding your comfort zone. So you may feel like, oh, I can handle, like I'm so good at just stepping out, but then there becomes a next situation where you have to step out and trust and have faith on a whole other level to get to the next expansion in the universe.
Absolutely, and that's another very important point in creating the circumstances you desire for yourself, choices, is that it's not because you make one choice, it means that you attract, the future outcome straight away. You've got to constantly take the new action. So, the new actions, it's little actions also, it's the everyday actions. And the actions are direct and indirect. So let's say, I don't know, if you want to create new income in your life, the direct action might be that you might apply for a promotion at your work or, invest in marketing. But the indirect is that you might actually, do some new indirect changes within your relationship when you feel more confident, or when you just align yourself more with this empowered state. So both are really equal, the direct and indirect choices to create new circumstances.
Yeah, and I guess it's being aware of those direct or indirect and how it is. It's just in that sense of knowing, what are you choosing? Are you choosing now more of what you want in what you think is your future but really is now? Or are you choosing from the past, which really is your comfort zone?
Exactly. And there is another thing that is very important. And if you watch that, just take a pen and write this down, because this is the key.
Okay,
this is
I got my
key to create the new circumstances you want for yourself. So as I mentioned in the beginning, right? The future is energy.
Yes.
Right? And we are also energy. We're vibrating, right? With certain energies, right? And then the energy we are vibrating is based on our choices, based on the people we surrender ourselves with, based on the environment, right, we are in. So that's the energy we're vibrating in, right? So to create the circumstances that you want, as I said, you have to become the future. Right? Vibrationally speaking. So you've got, and that's the key. You have to I'll give you an example, will be easier to explain. If you, for example, want to attract, have a partner, right?
Okay.
You want to attract a relationship, loving relationship, right?
Yeah.
So the question you need to ask yourself, how would you feel? What would you do when you have this relationship already? Okay? And you've got to imagine and see, how would you feel? What would you do with that partner? And then you need to ask yourself, once you're in this situation in your head, you need to ask yourself, right? How would you describe the experience in one word?
Okay. Sorry, love, but you're talking about a relationship now. So as you're saying about how would I'm like, okay, so there were all these things that I almost didn't want, or what I, and so that one word was, it was a pain.
Yeah, but that's probably the vibrations you are vibrating now towards relationship, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, with your mind, I mean, we can do this now with you if you would like that.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So you close your eyes and just imagine you have the partner you always dream of. So just put aside, your previous relationships. Put aside that, and there is a new Jacqueline now that is able to attract any man that you desire, right? So imagine you have this loving man next to you. What would you do with him?
Do I have to tell you?
No, you don't have to. You can just
Okay,
you can just imagine. It's just
it would be censored.
Yeah, but no, it's important that you put yourself in that energy, because what we need to get from that, we need to get in one word the experience you feel when you have this partner with you already. So how this partner makes you feel, what do you do, how your morning looks like, how your evening looks like, where do you go together, how do you experience the relationship with your children. And then describe, and then you just tell me in one word how this experience feel like for you. Just describe the experience in one word.
Joy or inspiration.
Okay, which one is stronger, joy or inspiration?
Joy.
Beautiful. Perfect. And now, thank you. You can open your eyes now. That's what we needed. That's really what we needed. The vibrational state of the future outcome you desire.
Mm-hmm.
And the future outcome you desire, so the energy that you want to attract in the future in a relationship, is the joy. Mm-hmm. So now, from now on, you've got to take new action. Mm-hmm. That the vibration behind the action you're taking, you must feel the joy within.
Yes.
Does this make sense?
Yes. I approach it from the sense of joy, that it is just joyous to be in a relationship and all the beautiful ideas that I have. And
yes, but that's
that I keep within me versus, and I release the rest of the stuff.
Yes, but the thing is, it's not only about feeling. You have to take action with choices through action, right? Because then when you take action, you're grounding, because we live in a 3D world, so everything is dense. So with action, we grounding our energy in this reality, right? So perhaps you can come up with a new, and it has to be a new choice that you haven't made before. And a new choice that you haven't made, that if you take this action, you will feel inside of you joy.
Okay, I will take a new action today. It will come to me afterwards, and I will post on the video how I took new action and brought joy into a relationship.
Beautiful, but that's just mean that you will, if you keep doing constantly, if you keep taking constantly actions, that when you actually take them, you will feel the joy. That means that you kind of start vibrating you start vibrating more aligned with the energy that you desire.
Yes. Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. So then you attract more and more, and then you're getting on the path to manifest the relationship, because you basically, the more new action you will take with the energy of joy behind, the more you start to attract. But there is one more thing to remember, which is very important also. Once you take new action, and we said the new action is a new action when you feel, stretching your comfort zone.
Right.
Most of the time when we take new action, there is, within small little actions are amazing also, right? And there's small little actions, if we take constantly, they create changes also. But when you start to take the action, within 2-3 days, you might notice something new is coming to you. You might notice you're attracting something new, okay? And that's because actually when we take the new actions, we start to notice new circumstances in our life. And that's what most people are not aware of, right? So let's say you go on a holiday and you just like, on holiday, we vibrating, we happy in such a different energy, right? Of happiness, of joy. we do things that we don't do normally. We just, let it be and enjoy life, right? What happens then? Very often we make new choices, right, out of our patterns. And then we actually attract new things, right? We think like, oh, everything was everything was flowing to me. I was just, synchronicity after synchronicity and things like that, right? Why? Because we were acting differently, right? And then you actually you can see the results in your reality because you start to attract new things.
Right.
So once you're aware of this, and you can, and if you take new action, and that relates also, we could talk about, you said your past relationship, you feel pain, right? Because when you take new action, which is not which is not aligned with the energy of joy, as an example, right? To your example, right? If it's not aligned with the energy of joy, then you will attract something that you might not want or might not be this, right? So if you make choices, let's say in terms of relationship with people, based on obligation, right? So if you make choice of obligation, then the energy you're vibrating is obligation. It's not joy.
Right.
So what you start to attract, you will start to attract circumstances and people that will create more obligation in your reality. Do you see what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I just know, even from with my daughters, right? I had this sense of freedom when they were gone. And I really thought they were gone for a long time. And it's like, oh, life is so good. And then all of a sudden, on a moment's notice, they all decided to come back. And it was like, okay, it was like a shadow was there to say, this was the old pattern, right? But what am I choosing now? And I just had to say, okay, we are 3 brand new beings, and we're in the same house at the moment, but we're operating at a whole different level. And it took just a couple days to be present to the old comfort zone. And then sometimes I even went to go say something to my daughter. Like, it was like, and she said, what's that? And I'm like, nope, I just clawed it right back. It was like, no, that's unnecessary. So because I wanted to stay in that space of freedom and joy.
Yes, but so that's exactly how it works. And it's really important that you ask yourself, with the new, because that's really the key to know the vibrations of your desired outcome. Because once you know the vibration of the future you want for yourself, what that future will give you in one word, then you know what type of choices you have to make to get there, to attract that future towards you. And this is really the key. And then once you start to take the new choices, just watch your reality and see what is changing. Yeah. So, like, let's say I post the first video, right? And then, it wasn't the first video. There was lots of nice feedback and everything, right? But then I kept going with the videos, and then I met you, we start to create something beautiful, and global party, it's coming inside, healing from the inside out, and I got attracted to clients, and I'm, my vibration shifting so much. So that already shows me in my reality that I am going towards the future outcome I am desiring. Yes. Because my outside reality shows me that the things are coming to me which are new, which, it haven't happened before. So that's kind of the sounds and the steps I know. So it's very, very important to know the vibrations of what the future outcome, what will give you in just one word.
Lightness too, freedom. It's all so good.
I know, and it's very amazing to have the awareness, because we desire, we want to create future for ourselves, something that we haven't had yet, but we don't know how. So we go like blindly, and we just trying things and trying different things, but once you know, you just have to check in with yourself. What would give you, how would you describe the feeling in one word? And then just make sure that you're honest with yourself with the choices you take. Because as I said, joy and obligation, it's two different vibrations. So if you make a choice based on obligation, but you want joy, then you will not attract what you want. Yeah. But your reality will show you again, because you will start to attract the situations in your life that you don't want, that you don't feel good with it. But then that's a sign like, okay, so what choice did I make? I wasn't really honest. It wasn't, with myself. It wasn't really what I wanted, what I really, and so then the life and your reality, as we talk about reflection, I was talking quite often with you also about reflection, that the reality, the reflection shows you, and then it's just the signs all over you, like everywhere gives you, your reality gives you signs to show you if you're going the directions you want or not.
So it's the little choices, right? So if you make the choice that you have to do this because you're obligated or you feel you're supposed to, and you make that little choice instead of joy, it's almost like you're going down a different path. And then you go, oh, you make another little choice, and it just gets heavier and more uncomfortable, and you're realizing it's not where you wanted to go. But if you start making a little choice, even tiny choice that says, oh, I'm going to do this, even if it feels uncomfortable and you're stretching your comfort zone, it's those little choices that exponentially compound. And now you're sharing to the world, all because you made one video.
Well, no, not because I made one video. You have to be consistent. Oh, it's not because you make one new choice.
Because you started the one and then you kept consistently taking action.
Yes, and then obviously this is just beginning of my journey also. There's lots more to come and unfold, but yeah, that's the little choices, that's the work I'm doing towards my future outcome I desire.
And helping others do the same.
Exactly, and sorry, what did you say?
I said, and you're helping others do the same, learning how to trust and experience the magic of life.
Yes, absolutely, and it's really, it's just, it become, when you look at your reality this way, and when you're aware of really what's happening and why it's happening, when you have the more clarity, then it's easier to course correct. Then it's easier to check in with yourself. Okay, actually that wasn't necessarily, the choice that it's aligned with what I want. So okay, I can course correct now. And the beauty is that even if we make choice that is not really aligned with what we want, you can always correct. You can always take a new choice after that's going to be more aligned. So there's no really mistakes. There's nothing that you can do wrong, because there's always, you can take new choices.
Yeah, it's like, I like to describe like your inner GPS, which I call, because even when you detour, on a global positioning, it's still telling you, turn right at the next one, turn right at the next one. So there's always a new choice to make to get you back to where you want to go in that space of joy. So this has been so awesome, and we can keep talking about it, and we're going to keep talking about stepping into your magnificence next week at the global party. Is there anything you encourage besides me taking my one step? What would you encourage the viewers to do between now and next week?
I would really encourage you to look honestly on the parts of your life which you're not necessarily happy with, where they're not really, when there's not much happening in the way that you wish would be happening, and really ask yourself, honest question. Is it that really what you want to go for it, or if you want to create new circumstances for yourself? And if you do, just look into the vibration of what you want to create, and follow it. Just start taking new choices, and that is going to be a little surprise in the global party. So you guys got to come and join us, and there's going to be so many great speakers. I'm so excited about that.
And you are going to be on at 2 o'clock. right? Central European time this week,
Yes.
1 week from today, September 22nd. So mark that on your calendar right now, or, go to the time zone calendar. That will be 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which would be like 5 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time, and 10 a.m. in Australia and Sydney. What time would it be in Bali? It would be like...
Oh, I don't remember now.
8 p.m.
8 p.m.
I think so.
No, yeah, maybe. I don't.
Somewhere around there. Anyways,
you're going to remember the time zones. I move so often. And then after and the thing is with me, once I move, I just settle in the place where I am, and I just forget everything what was there, the time and everything.
So we're all looking forward to the surprise, and you have yourself a very great week, and I'm looking forward to hearing in the comments below, because as I said, I'll make my comment my new choice based on joy, and let you know how that works out. So all positively, I can feel it already.
Beautiful. Lots of love to you guys, and thank you. Big heart, big heart. Thank you.